Good morning, Kim. Remember how we checked out how Google Apps and MS Apps communicate with each other in Building 9 to 1 last time? This time, let's check how VBA in MS Office Apps communicates.
This is a review of Chapter 5. Let's just look at the key points. Can a database command itself? Access is a database, but it is an app that can easily command itself. Who do people talk to the most? Of course, it's themselves. Eat, clean, dance, sing, study, and so on. We simply fail to realize that the person we converse with, who issues countless commands and sometimes obeys or refuses, is actually ourselves. This is exactly what I wanted. I will open it in design mode and check the duplicate prevention index. The index name is unique receipt. The input field names are the sheet name and timestamp. The important thing is the index attribute at the bottom. It needs to be set to unique. Chapter 5. I could say it was a deal. The topic of this Chapter 6 is conversation. What is the difference between thought and conversation? Thinking is communicating with oneself. Conversation is communicating with others. That sounds plausible. But such a definition requires verification by a psychologist. To be honest, I don't really know about that. Today's topic is conversation between people who share the same language. That is the subject. Oh, right. A new conversation partner has started to join my conversations with others. It is none other than conversation with AI. AI is a conversational partner that offers sophisticated advice to both me and others that cannot be ignored. I will click the button on this Excel sheet to open Access. That is, the database application. Access will open briefly and then disappear. Access closed even though I never issued a command to close it. In fact, the VBA code generated by the AI worked. The shift from simply commanding an app to open to coding a command that opens the app, performs a specific task, and then closes it has become significantly easier thanks to the intervention of AI. You can execute commands using VBA in both Excel and Access. In other words, Access and Excel can be considered applications that share the same language. I plan to completely clear the records from the Access table TBL receipt and then issue a command from Excel to see if the Access table gets populated. In other words, to verify that the update operation works. I seem to be a skeptical person, so I think I should reopen the Access table I just deleted to verify that the data has been completely removed. To explain it once more, this button is clearly an Excel button, and it is linked to an Excel macro. When you click it, Access opens and runs a macro within Access. Access closes after the task is complete, and Excel returns to its original state. However, the command from Excel causes data to flow into a previously empty Access table. Let's take a look. Manually open the Access database. Open the TBA receipt table, where the data has been imported, and verify that 60 records have been logged. You can confirm that exactly 60 records have been imported. Let's delete some of the imported records from Sheet 4 and run the macro again. I have deleted all but one of the 15 records. After manually deleting them, close Access. Clicking the Excel button should trigger the Access macro and allow you to verify that 14 records are retrieved from Sheet 4 in accordance with the indexing logic applied to the Access TBL report table. Was it actually processed that way? Let me open Access and check. Let's go back to Access and open the TBL report table. Just as expected, it has been restored to a total of 60 records. The 14 deleted records have been fully recovered. In other words, no matter how many times you click this button, the index function prevents duplicate entries, so you do not need to worry about duplicate records in the Access table.
Excel and Access communicate using a shared language called VBA. However, Copilot, the AI that facilitates this communication, is available only in Excel. When using AI for VBA coding, novice Access users often feel frustrated by the fact that Access lacks the macro recording feature found in Excel. But what if you asked Excel's Copilot to handle the VBA coding for an Access program? Don't you think that could yield some fascinating results?